Right now at noon, a lightning strike causes a house fire in the town of Burke. We'll hear from firefighters about how often this happens. And a Beloit mother is reunited with her baby. Her husband is accused of taking him across state lines.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now at noon. Severe storms across southern Wisconsin caused downed trees and power lines all across our area. Today, there are more scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Firefighters in the town of Burke confirm a lightning strike caused a house fire this morning. Sun Prairie firefighters were dispatched to the scene on Ratman Road after a homeowner heard a loud bang. Firefighters say the lightning hit the back corner of the home and caused smoke and drywall damage. Firefighters respond to about a half dozen lightning strikes to homes each year.
We do see lightning strikes quite frequently, more severely when big, strong storms come through like we had yesterday and today. But oftentimes, if they're caught early, damage is limited, but it's definitely a hazard that nobody can really control.
There were no injuries in the fire. Right now, Alliant Energy is assessing electrical hazards and checking circuits before power is restored to the home. An insurance agent is assessing the damage. Let's head to the Weather Center now. Meteorologist Chris Reese with a look at our first alert forecast. A stormy start to the day.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. Thankfully, a lot of those storms have begun to move out of the area for now, so things are about to quiet down for us, and perhaps we'll see a return of sunshine. Here's high-resolution Doppler as we speak. You have a few showers offshore near Lake Michigan, but here's what's gone on over the past 6 hours. We have that line of very noisy showers and thunderstorms, along with heavy rain producers, move through earlier. Most of that now is well to our south and southwest. The biggest energy from that is confined over southeastern Iowa at the moment, but there is still a marginal risk for severe showers and thunderstorms as we move into the afternoon, primarily for damaging winds and the potential for some large hail. Most of that's going to be south of Madison towards the state line and below that, and we will watch that. That's again if we can get the atmosphere to recover from the showers and thunderstorms we had out there this morning. In the meantime, it is still a very cloudy look. It's still very muggy out there, but I do think we're starting to see some holes in the cloud cover. Temperatures are starting to recover as well. We are at 75, but winds are out of the south and southwest at 10 miles per hour. 76 in Dubuque right now. All of these areas are cooler simply because we have a lot of that cloud cover. But folks, that cloud cover is breaking up, and once we get more sunshine, that's when the temperatures are really going to take off. I still do think that we'll have the potential to see those highs near 88 degrees this afternoon. You factor in the humidity, it's definitely going to feel like the mid-90s out there.
And that's going to fire things up again.
Yes, it will.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you, Chris. We're getting a first look at the reunion between a Beloit mother and her baby who was taken from her. Ashley Floyd drove to northwestern Ohio to get her 7-month-old son back. That's where someone alerted police, and they saw her husband, Jeb Sparks Sr., who allegedly took the child. The child's his mother was also with Sparks Sr. at the time. He's wanted on substantial battery charges. Racine Sheriff's officials have identified the man suspected of fatally shooting an off-duty police officer last week. 26-year-old Delquavis Ward of Milwaukee was arrested yesterday in connection to Officer John Hetland's murder. Authorities say they took him into custody in Officer Hetland's handcuffs. Ward has not yet been charged. Summerfest staff has launched an investigation into accusations made by one of its headliners. Singer Lizzo accused the Summerfest security guard of using hurtful language while tackling and dragging their team off festival grounds. She also says a security guard slapped and manhandled her stylist and hairstylist and wrote on Twitter, "Racism and bigotry don't care if you're a headliner." Summerfest officials responded saying racism is not tolerated in any form. Powerful storms yesterday sent people at Summerfest scrambling for cover last night, and the Country USA Music Festival in Oshkosh was evacuated and suspended. Organizers said tents would not be safe in high winds. And tonight's Live on King Street show in Madison is being moved inside due to the potential of more storms in the forecast. That'll happen inside the Majestic Theater. Doors open at 7. The show starts at 8. According to a release, the show will still be free, but organizers expect the venue to fill up quickly and recommend getting there early. A petition calling for Governor Tony Evers to remove the pride flag from the state capitol has 10,000 signatures. Wisconsin Public Radio reports the Wisconsin Family Council delivered the petition in person earlier this week. Evers issued an executive order on June 7th to raise the flag for the first time in state history. He has not publicly commented on the petition. In their next term, the U.S. Supreme Court will review President Trump's decision to terminate the Obama-era DACA program. The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program protects hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants who came to the U.S. as children. If the high court sides with the Trump administration, it could strip protections from 700,000 so-called dreamers. Justice Clarence Thomas says while he agreed with the Supreme Court's decision not to hear a case on surgical abortions in Alabama, he wants the High Court to consider rolling back historical precedent on abortion. Justice Thomas made it clear it's time for the court to address abortion as states work to codify abortion on their own terms. A fiery second night of the Democrats' presidential debate had former Vice President Joe Biden in the hot seat. Laura Podesta has more from Miami.
On a stage packed with 10 more Democratic presidential candidates, Senator Kamala Harris took aim at former Vice President Joe Biden's comments last week about working with segregationist senators.
It was hurtful.
She also went after his opposition in the 70s and 80s to the federal government's involvement in using busing to help desegregate schools.
There was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools, and she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
During the exchange, Harris's team tweeted this photo of her as a little girl.
The point that I was making is, had those senators, those segregationists, had their way, I would not be a member of the United States Senate today.
After the debate, Biden's team called Harris's attack a low blow. The former vice president, who has been leading in the polls, was a popular target.
Joe Biden was right when he said it was time to pass the torch to a new generation of Americans 32 years ago.
I'm still holding on to that torch.
Diversity was also a big topic. Mayor Pete Buttigieg answered frankly when asked why there was not more diversity on his South Bend, Indiana police force.
Because I couldn't get it done. My community is in anguish right now because of an officer-involved shooting.
And Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders defended why he, an older white man, should lead a party that embraces diversity.
We need a party that is diverse, but we need a party that has the guts to stand up to the powerful special interests.
The next debates will again feature 20 candidates split over 2 nights at the end of July. Laura Podesta, CBS News, Miami.
Also on last night's panel, Colorado Senator Michael Bennet, former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper, entrepreneur Andrew Yang, New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and author and activist Marianne Williamson. There's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. I'm next. We'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Hold on to your hat as we rope in a recipe that any cowboy would love. And I'm not horsing around. What a week we've had celebrating the history, the sights, and the tastes of the Wild Wild West. And before we wrap things up, I figured we should highlight a piece of history that was a big part of the Wild West era, the Pony Express. And although it was only around for a bit, it was a vast improvement to shipping things by stagecoach. It was dangerous for these young cowboys to trek across the country. Sure wasn't like shipping things these days. Can you imagine what it would be like trying to ship cookies to a loved one? By the time they would arrive, they would have been broken by the rough ride, stolen by bandits, or stale, considering how long it took to get there. And since we're talking about cookies, I thought I'd share a recipe for the best chocolate chip cookie ever that happens to be cowboy approved. They're super moist on the inside and crispy around the edges and loaded with chocolate chips. To get your hands on this stunkable favorite, all you have to do is mosey over to our website and type in cowboy cookies. While you're there, make sure you check out all of the recipes from this week's Wild Wild West adventure. I'm Howard from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen with Summer, where today we found a cowboy's favorite way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right, Howard, thank you. Scattered showers and thunderstorms continue today, but they'll clear out tonight as the heat ramps up. Meteorologist Chris Reese will share just how hot it's going to feel this weekend next in your first alert forecast. Our Call for Action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issues. You can call our hotline. Volunteers will help you with any consumer complaints. The number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. Twitter says it'll start flagging tweets from politicians that break company rules. And a new study shows spinach contains a steroid-like chemical. Diane King Hall has more in today's Money Watch report.
Twitter says it will begin putting warning labels on tweets from national political figures and world leaders that break its rules. Twitter says the rules apply to political candidates and government officials who have more than 100,000 followers. Users will have to click through the warning to see the tweets, but the tweet itself won't be removed. People spent more money in May. According to the Commerce Department, personal spending rose 0.4% as Americans bought more cars and spent more money on hotels and eating out. Meanwhile, incomes rose 0.5%. United Airlines has stripped Continental from its name. It was formerly named United Continental when United merged with its rival in 2010. The jets have been flying with just the United branding since 2012, and now it is officially severing all connections to the former carrier. And it turns out Popeye was right. The cartoon character was known to devour spinach as his source of strength, and a new study has discovered a steroid-like chemical in the leafy green. Scientists in Berlin have identified the chemical as ecdysтерone. Researchers conducting the study found that athletes taking in the daily dose of the supplement saw their physical strength nearly triple. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Diane, thank you. At the noon hour, the Dow Industrials up 81 points, the NASDAQ up 30, the S&P 500 up 12.5. Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankey's out of the radio barn today, so here are your farm numbers.
It really would.
And it's time now for the weather. Chris is over in this weather center. We were just talking about the heat. It's all over the world right now.
Yeah, a lot of folks are going to be dealing with some heat going into the weekend. As for us, it's not as hot right now, but it is muggy after the line of showers and thunderstorms came through earlier on this morning. They were noisy, folks. Produced a lot of lightning and some heavy rainfall as they rumbled on through. Most of that is now to our south, but we do still have some of the cloud cover associated with it. But notice how this cloud cover really begins to thin out over the past couple of hours. We're still watching that cloud cover thin out over the area. So look for at least a little bit more sunshine to begin to return to the picture. Here's a live look outside right now. This is a little patch of blue sky starting to show up just on the other side of our station camera. Temperature-wise, we're at 75, and I do think once we start to see a little bit more sunshine, those temperatures are going to rebound in a hurry. Winds, they're out of the south and southwest at 10 miles per hour right now. That's the southerly wind flow that's going to usher in some of those warmer temperatures for us. 72 in Monroe right now. Mineral Point already at 77. We're at 75 in Viroqua, La Crosse at 76. And then the showers and thunderstorms that we did have, they're moving on out of here. So we're starting to get in on this drier period of our afternoon that I do think is going to last for a while for most of us. There is a marginal risk for severe storms, mainly south of Madison, down towards the state line and farther south, especially throughout parts of southeastern Iowa and northern Missouri. I think this area where the slight risk is in the yellow is where we're going to see the greater chance for shower and thunderstorm development this afternoon. In fact, that's where we do have some severe showers and thunderstorms right now. But as for us, I think it's going to be a little difficult for that atmosphere to truly recover in terms of instability after the line of showers and thunderstorms that came through this morning. But in time, watch this region of low pressure. That's moving towards the north and east. That is going to gradually take the stationary front and move it our direction as a warm front. So we're talking a lot of heat that's over the south and western part of the country. That's going to be building into the Midwest, folks. And this is why we're going to see so much heat and so much humidity as we go towards the weekend and then into early next week. So certainly you want to be prepared for that. Let's time it on out for you. This afternoon, while I don't think we'll recover as much in terms of storms, I do think we're going to heat up. Highs will be in the upper 80s to near 90. I don't think anyone will hit 90 this afternoon. We'll be mild overnight. We'll hit 90 tomorrow, though. I think a lot of folks are going to see their first 90-degree temperature of the season if you have not done so already. But it's going to be warm into Sunday, too. Let's factor in the humidity now and tell you what it's going to feel like. This is tomorrow afternoon. The western parts of the state, I do think, are going to see that triple-degree heat index. But I think all of us are going to see that, or at least come close to it, going into Sunday, because this is noon on Sunday. Notice a lot of these heat indices are already in the upper 90s and close to 100, and at that point, you still have a couple more hours of warming to go. So the heat is on, folks, and it goes beyond just Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be near 90 on Monday as well, near 90 on Tuesday, staying in the upper 80s through next Friday, and then we'll gradually begin to cool down. But notice the whole 10-day stretch, our temperatures are above average. It is going to be feeling like summer. And when you get this warm and you factor in the humidity, we do have to add that rain chance every single day to the forecast. And now none of those are going to be washout days by any means, but nonetheless, we'll be watching the potential for afternoon showers and thunderstorms to pop up. That heat, the moisture that adds instability, and the atmosphere really wants to stabilize itself at all times. And so what happens is it pops up a thunderstorm in an effort to do that.
Shake the lake tomorrow night?
Shake the lake tomorrow night. The good news is I do think that's going to try to stay dry for us.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on things.
Absolutely.
All right, Chris, thank you. Next at noon, today's a big milestone for LGBTQ rights. We'll look back at the Stonewall Inn riots that sparked a worldwide movement 50 years ago today. Well, today, June 28th, marks the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots in New York. Days of violent protests largely seen as the impetus for the gay rights movement. Christian Holmes has more on how the riots changed history.
In the early morning hours of June 28, 1969, police raided the Stonewall Inn, a bar and known safe space for the LGBTQ community in New York City.
Patrons were there enjoying their time together, and the police tried to raid the bar again. The patrons said enough is enough and fought back. And that resistance, that riot went on for days.
At the time, homosexuality was illegal in most states and still defined as a mental illness. Many consider the riots a turning point in the gay rights movement in America.
When the Stonewall riots happened, I was 9 years old. And I was living in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I thought I was the only transgender person in the world. And I was totally and utterly alone. And all these people in New York were doing this amazing thing for me. They didn't know they were doing it for me. They were doing it for themselves. They were doing it for everybody. But what they did made my life as I know it possible.
Now, 50 years later, LGBTQ activists say the fight continues.
We have healthcare providers who still don't know how to competently provide us healthcare, and who sometimes, particularly now, are being told by the federal government that it's okay to discriminate against us.
The dream for me is that we will have legislation on the federal level in the form of the Equality Act that will protect the rights of LGBTQ people in healthcare, in housing, in their jobs, and in every single domain.
Chris has one final check of the forecast.
Yeah, it's a hot and steamy forecast as well. Several days above average. Really every day in this forecast will be above average temperature-wise. 4 alert days as well. One today, at least for the potential for some more showers and thunderstorms this afternoon, though I do think most of us stay dry. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, it's all about that heat and humidity, folks. We're going to be feeling it as heat indices do approach the triple digits. There is a chance for storms just about every day with the heat and humidity.
All right, be careful out there. That's our time for now. We'll see you back here at 4. In the meantime, have a great afternoon.